Hey, what's up, Wrestling World? This is August C. Jones here with another edition of Wrestle Ones. And so on this video, I wanted to give my thoughts on the latest firings or releases, as you can put it, for WWE. And a lot of these names are surprising. So I'm going to talk about the ones that happened like about, a week ago, and some that happened recently. And we don't like to see, it's bad to wish anybody lose their job. Let's put it like that. But when you have people underneath your roster that you took in recently, as far as maybe a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago or something, and you don't do anything with them and you release them, it looks, I don't know, it's kind of weird. So we got a lot of people that got released from NXT and everything else. I'm only going to focus on the names that I'm familiar with, that I watch, because I don't really watch NXT on a, weekly basis. I don't keep up with the stories or nothing like that. But the names that were released that were, a lot of these were shocking. A lot of these people probably like, okay, cool, yeah, good riddance or whatever. But we had Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, the Motor City Machine Guns, Alba Fire, Apollo Crews, the Wyatt Six, Bo Dallas, which include Bo Dallas, Dexter Lumis, Eric Rowan, Nikki Cross, Joe Gacy, and then Kairi Sane got let go. Santos Escobar, Zoe Stark. Those are the first line of releases. And like I said, there were a lot more, with this, but a lot of them names I'm not familiar with, never even heard of them, never seen these people before a day in my life. But a lot of those names just strike me as weird. So you have Zelina and Black, which are like, Black is a great talent. Zelina as his manager would have been great. It's no secret that they slotted them in the position that Cross and what's her name, Scarlett, was supposed to be in, because literally it felt like they picked up right where they left off at, as being like the people that get in other people's ear, like, oh, you gotta start acting like this, you gotta start doing that, oh, you gotta bring out the dark side. Like, that's literally what it was. And so they got the same treatment that Cross and Scarlett did, which is kind of like funny in a way of not saying like it's hilarious or making fun of them being fired and from WWE or whatever, but just funny in a weird, strange type of way, that they carried on their same kind of gimmick and ended up getting released because that's all that they were using them for. And there's nothing against Zelina or Black, because like I said, I would have loved to see more of Black in high profile storylines, which we kind of were going to get before Pat McAfee was put into the place of being the person that was in Randy Orton's ear. We found out that it was supposed to be Aleister Black, trying to bring out the Viper, bring out the Legend Killer in Randy Orton for WrestleMania. And it's weird to look at it as that would have been the better route to go, because you could have had an alliance with them. Maybe she could have managed Randy Orton or something like that as well, and then later on down the line you probably could have had something between Black and Randy or something of that nature. But it seemed like that was their route that they were going. And because TKO interjected and put their nose where it shouldn't have been and put Pat McAfee, because they don't watch the day-to-day, they just, oh yeah, we're going to put a celebrity because we need more money. They ended up taking the talent that could have used the exposure and put him and her to the side and put somebody else in there that didn't have any business belonging in that position. So now we're left with Black and Zelina not doing anything. Now they got fired, and it's sad to see that, because that was a talent that could have been put in a high profile slot. It's just like, why did you bring him back if you didn't have any plans for him? It's like when you look at Rusev, you brought him back and don't have any major plans for him. He will have little things to do here and there, but nothing solid, nothing big as far as programming and feuds or whatever that he's going to have. And it's so weird as to why they bring these people back if they don't have no plans to do anything with them. But the Motor City Machine Guns, I felt was surprising, but not really surprising. So when they were free agents from TNA, it was like, okay, where are they going to go? They're going to go to AEW or WWE, which I felt like the end game for them was to go to WWE. And that's more than likely the reason why they went there, which I was happy because I was a huge fan of the Motor City Machine Guns back when they were in TNA, and like they real like the heyday, you know, of TNA. And I loved them. Like at one point they were my favorite tag team because they were just so awesome. The matches that they had with Beer Money, and you know, I believe they even had some with the Hardys or whatever. I love watching the Motor City Machine Guns, and I always thought that they should go to WWE. And they finally got there, and WWE did nothing with them. Triple H did nothing with them. They were tag team champions one time, 2 weeks into them being debuted, and nothing else major was done with them. Like they didn't allow them to get in the ring and really show off the way that they could. I mean, they're older than what they used to be, but they could still go. But Triple H and the creative didn't put them in that limelight, along with other teams that they have on the roster. So it's kind of a disappointing thing that they didn't utilize the Guns as they should have been utilized. And it sucks that they got let go, but I feel like AEW, if they don't go back to TNA, AEW would be the one, I guess you could say, the perfect place to go, because I feel like they'll be able to, if Tony Khan uses them in the way that they need to be used, they're going to be able to show off what they're going to show off. Like they're going to be able to like just work their ass off and really show people what the Guns are about. Alba Fire, I wasn't too familiar with her, so I don't really have too much to say about that. But I mean, I feel like if she wasn't being utilized in a major way, I feel like, you know, it's just, yeah, you got more people coming up. She went from being a big, I believe that she was like a major thing in like NXT, but when she was brought up to the main roster, she just played a side character. And like, I don't think that they felt that she was going to have any type of ceiling on the main roster. And that's sad to even know. That's sad to even know. I feel like if they didn't have that much faith in, like, they probably should have been released her. And like I said, I'm not hoping that anybody lose their jobs, but it's like, instead of like just dragging people on, you might as well just like, you know, get it over with so that she can be free to either go to TNA, go to AEW, or just run the indies, you know, go across seas or whatnot. But I mean, that one I don't have too much of an attachment to, you know. Apollo Crews, I'm surprised that he really survived this long. He is an amazing talent that they really didn't, I feel, utilize to his potential, to what he really can do. I could see him going to TNA, because I feel like if he goes to AEW, they probably might not push him the way they need to, but in TNA, he probably could thrive, be world champion in TNA. I feel like that's the perfect spot for him. But I feel like they just didn't utilize him in the best way possible, and it's just sad to see that, you know, because they really could have used a guy like him, a dude that's like not as big as Bobby Lashley, maybe a little bit smaller, but he's still a big dude that's able to do cruiserweight type of moves. Like, there is a lot of like leeway to where you could use him in, like, against certain people, like a Javon Evans or something like that, or even what's his name, Leon Slater in TNA. You know, he could have gone head to head with a lot of like the smaller guys and cruiserweights. They definitely could have used him in that spot, and it's sad to see that they got rid of him. But I mean, honestly, this will open him up, like I said, with Alba Fire, so that he could do what he needs to do and really show off his talents. Now, the Wyatt 6 is one that is surprising, but not surprising, only because of the fact that it was like, when we look back at it now, they really only just did it for Bray Wyatt. It wasn't, they had no plans for the Wyatt 6. They didn't know what they were going to do with them. They had them go like feud with, I believe it was the final or last testament with Karrion Kross. They feud with them for a little bit. Chad Gable in the Alpha Academy, and then I think the Miz even a little bit had like some interactions, and then finally their like biggest feud, but not the greatest feud, was with the MFTs fighting over a lantern, which I really didn't care too much about. But it was like, when you see all the stuff that WWE and creative had them do, they didn't really know what to do with them. There was no chance of Bo Dallas ever becoming world champion. Even if they got super popular, unless Bo Dallas got super over as Uncle Howdy, I don't think that he was going to ever be in the way of being a world champion. But them being a dominating force as a faction, yes. Tag team titles, mid-card titles, even Nikki Cross, even if they put her in a position to win a women's title or one of the mid-card women's titles, that would have been like just perfectly fine. And for them to let them go, it just shows, I ain't gonna say it's a disrespect to Bray Wyatt, because they did allow Bo Dallas to bring to life more so the whole Wyatt Six and Uncle Howdy than what Bray Wyatt was able to do in like the last months or whatever, or last year that he was alive. So I mean, they did give them the courtesy to even do that, but I feel like it was just one of them things where I don't think that they knew it was going to last long. I don't think that they thought it was going to last long. They had no plans for them. Like, we're just going to throw them here, throw them there. And, you know, if it works out, it works out. But if it don't, then we could just get rid of them. And it's sad to see that all of them, because I felt like there was a heavy potential for them. You didn't have to go heavy supernatural and everything else, but you could have done something with them instead of just, you know, it seemed like giving them an AI storyline with, you know, whatever. It just, I don't know, like it's some potential that could have happened with that faction that they didn't go the route. They could have feud with the Judgment Day. They could have feud with, I don't know, any other faction that they might have. But I don't know. I just feel like it was one of those things where they really wasn't used to the potential. And a lot of people might look back and be like, yo, their debut with, you know, all these like people laid out and Bray Wyatt walking over like dead bodies and everything, that kind of hurt them just to start. Even though it was a really good opening, but at the same time, it was kind of outlandish for a program, even for WWE, to go that route, especially when you saw like Chad Gable with the hole in his head, or like he basically got killed, and then the next week or 2 weeks later, I forgot when, he's back on TV, you know. So it was one of them things where, however you look at it, whether like it made sense to do that or not, I feel like it's a way that they could have spotlighted the Wyatt Six that could have like put them over, that they just didn't go that route, and it just kind of sucks to see that. Kairi Sane is a person that a lot of people, just like with the R-Truth situation, they felt like they were really, like, it was a lot of people invested because she was in the storyline with Asuka and Io over, I guess you could say, custody over Kairi, where Io was trying to tell her like she don't deserve to get treated like that Asuka is treating her, and Asuka is like, yo, stay out of our business. This is between me and her, you know. And people was like wanting to see it happen. They wanted to see Kairi, they wanted to see Asuka and Io in WrestleMania, and like maybe Irie. Wow. God, what's her name? I just said it. Io Sky maybe liberate Kairi Sane out of Asuka's like custody and do something like that. Or they, you know, since the matches happened in Backlash, it was going to happen then, where Kairi was going to finally like just stand up to Asuka and fight back, and then, you know, just relieve herself from there. But I like to look at it as like, what were they going to do with Kairi after that? Do you guys as fans have faith that WWE, Triple H, creative was going to free Kairi from Asuka if they wasn't going to tag her up with Io? Maybe go for tag team titles, which would basically kind of put her in the same position that she was with Asuka. You know, it just kind of like, it's weird. You go from one tag to another tag. It's whatever. But what do you think WWE was going to do with her? Were they going to make her a champion? I don't think so. I really don't. As much as people love Kyrie and like they were invested into the storyline, I don't think that they were going to do anything with her. Then on top of that, you got people online talking about like justice for Kyrie. We want Kyrie. They even saying it in the crowd. But let's look at this. If they were to bring her back, like I said, they're not going to do anything with her. So it's kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I don't think Triple H and them had any like faith, or they lost faith in Kyrie that they were going to do anything with her. I think it was kind of like a thing that Triple H wanted to do to bring her back after she got released, once he got in power. But I don't think he really had it in mind to really do anything with her. With a lot of these people that they re-signed and brought back and all that stuff, that's why like a lot of people are being released only like a year or so after they got brought back to the company. They don't have any like plans for these. They just need bodies, and that's all what they are. And it's like, that's why I feel like Kyrie should just stay away. If she's going to wrestle in AEW, or like they said, she went back to Japan, which is great. Like, just stay out there, do your thing, maybe get bigger. That way, if they bring you back, it's undeniable that they, whatever. But I wouldn't even trust that. But it's just like, I look at it as like people saying we want Kyrie and all that stuff, bring her back. But I mean, if they do, she's probably going to get the same treatment as R-Truth. We want R-Truth back. Like, yeah, we want and all this stuff. They brought him back. What have they really done with him? I mean, he is a tag champ right now, but it's like, what have they majorly done with him? He cut his hair. He was going to be Ron Killings, but they continued to call him Truth, so he went back to being Truth. And then after that, it's like he had the little feud with like again with John Cena and this and that. He was in between like Black and Priest, and after that it was just really nothing. I mean, he, like I said, he is tag champ. He is a tag champ, but it's not. You're not gonna look at him and Damian Priest tag champs as like you would look at an established team or anything like that. We're looking at this as like, yeah, this is gonna be a good little team to go with for a little bit, but I don't think it's gonna last long. It's like they throw bones here and there. So he's really came back to go back to being R-Truth and how he was. So that's what I'm saying. Like, Kyrie's saying, if they're doing that to R-Truth and people wanted R-Truth, how do you think that they're gonna treat Kyrie? It doesn't. I feel like if she can do better somewhere else, do better somewhere else. She doesn't need to be in WWE. And then Santos Escobar, a person that whose contract was going to go, they brought him back for more money. And I believe he was injured, and then he ended up coming back and got injured again, so he was still out. And it's like he got put as part of releases. What was the point of bringing him back for a larger amount if you wasn't going to utilize him, if you were just going to get rid of him? It's a guy who has the look that, and more than likely the potential, that it got to a point where we wanted to see him in a higher position, hold a title, a singles title, maybe not win the world title, but maybe be in a contention for the world title. He had that potential, but they chose not to go that route. And it's sad to see that, especially when a person is injured and they get released. I can only imagine how that feels. It can't feel great. It can't. But I feel like that was just kind of like a missed opportunity with them or whatnot. Zoe Stark, who was injured. She had a really gnarly injury in like her last match. And literally just got the go-ahead, got cleared. And she was ready to come back to the ring, only to get the phone call to tell her that she has been released. It's like, that has to be a slap in the face. I wasn't too big on Zoe Stark, but at the same time, it's like, it was like, what was the point? Like, at least let her come back and do something. But they didn't. She got cleared, and instead of getting the phone call to come back to the ring, it was like, just stay home. You don't have to come back. It's so weird, these like stuff. Like, I feel like more of these names, I feel like, to me, are the most disappointing is the Black Zelina, the Machine Guns, as well as like the Escobar, and I guess you could say the Y6, because I feel like a lot of those had potential had they been utilized in the best or the correct way, or a better way, and it just wasn't. And it just, I don't know, certain people might be like, okay, yeah, like, I mean, it ain't no big thing, but there's always a purpose for certain wrestlers to use them in and everything else. And man, I don't know, man. This is one of those things where I feel like WWE is not that creative, even though you have all the money and the resources that you can reach out and get creative people and try and get like a whole team to come up with the best stories and the best just the best everything. You choose not to, and it just kind of sucks for the wrestlers, especially the ones that could be potential main eventers or potential like just champions. You do away with them, and it's just, yeah, I don't know. But the more recent releases that got released, believe either today or yesterday or whatever other time that I'm recording this, the New Day, JC Mateo, which Jacob Cobb, and Tonga Loa. So Tonga Loa, I don't think he ever had, like, his ceiling was right where he was. If he was to ever break away from the MFTs, it would either have to be him and his brother, Tama Tonga, being tag team champions, maybe even teaming up with Tala Tonga and they just being the Tongans and being that group, because he wasn't going to ever be a singles champion. He wasn't ever going to be in any main event spot. Tama Tonga, it seemed like they have something that they want to do with him. But yeah, that one I can understand. Like I said, don't want to wish anybody lose their jobs, but that one I can understand why they felt like they need to get rid of him. But even still, he was a part of a part of a faction that was ongoing. So to just get rid of him, it seemed weird. Like, and then Tala Tonga, he's still there. Yeah, he's a big opposing like person, but it's like, what are they really doing with him? It seemed like they want to start trying to do something with him after Friday, but I don't think he's going to last too long either. I think what's his name, Solo is going to lose everything, and it's probably going to be a program between him and Tama, and that's probably going to be the next thing that they're going to do with that. But it's weird how they keep Tala Tonga, but then got rid of Tonga Loa. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. But JC Mateo, they brought him. He was a big name. I was hearing a lot of stuff about him. Never really seen him before, but before he came into WWE, I was hearing a lot about him and everything. But they never did anything with him. Became part of the NFTs or MFTs, and that was it. They really had nothing for him. We didn't know anything major about him. If you didn't see him outside of WWE before he came in, what you see is what you get, unless you just go out and you like search it upon yourself. But other than that, they didn't really like define what the MFTs are. They didn't really like get into the nitty gritty of like, giving them personalities and all that stuff. And that's the difference between the old bloodline and the MFTs, is that the old bloodline, everyone had a distinct personality. We knew who the Usos were. We knew who and don't get me wrong, I mean, they were already established before they came together. And then they just built on that, the dynamic of the group between the individuals. So the MFTs kind of had like something different, where it was like they brought them in, but then after that they had to kind of like build them up. So I get it was like, it's not like apples to apples. It is a stark difference. But at the same time, you had enough time with that group being together to literally define and show people who they are, and you just didn't. And so this is what became of it. You got Tonga Loa and JC Mateo gone from the company. Probably Tala Tonga is going to be the next one, like I said. So it's just, I don't know, it's weird. And then the New Day, surprising. It's one of those groups where I thought that they were going to be lifers. They lost Big E due to a accident in a match, and he had to retire early. But I feel like it's messed up, but in the other sense, I want to see them actually do more. I think it would be weird to see them in ECW, in AEW, but I feel like it would be kind of like something new and fresh for them, because Kofi Kingston has only known WWE. Xavier Woods was in TNA at one point and then came to WWE, so it's just like that's really what he's all about and all that stuff. So it still would be weird to see him, but I think that they can do wonderful things in AEW. As far as like just how they are in the ring and all that stuff, and then the personalities of them. But I think it's just weird. I felt like there were more that they could have done with them, and Triple H, I feel like he really screwed the pooch when they had that whole thing with Big E and they just treated him badly and threw him away, and they had the crowd hating them, where it's like they couldn't even get a word out because the crowd was just booing so loud. And it was like, y'all can utilize this, but they didn't. Triple H just kept repeating the same thing every week. They come out, they can't speak, and all this stuff. Oh, you hate me. And it was just so weird, because it's like you have heels hating them, when it's like the heels should be respecting them, but it's like, oh, they go around and people don't like them, no matter if they're heel or face, tweener. No one likes them. And it was just like they didn't do anything with them. They didn't have them beat down people viciously, beloved people. They didn't have, like, if they would have had him put down, because I don't remember if like Rey Mysterio was hurt around this time, because Rey Mysterio been getting hurt lately. I don't know if he was hurt around this time, but let's say they had them beat down Rey Mysterio, bloody him up. They could have capitalized on that, but they didn't. They left it to be where it's like, yo, you know, we're just gonna have them do this every single week. We don't have anything for them. They didn't capitalize on it, to the point where the fans just like, yeah, well, we don't care about it anymore. By the time they got the championships on them, the crowd didn't care. It was like, yeah, y'all had y'all chance and y'all didn't do it. So at the end of the day, looking at these releases, like I said, a lot of them are surprising, especially the most recent ones. Not really JC Mateo or Tonga Loa, but more so the New Day. That was really surprising. But as far as what WWE is doing, what Triple H is doing, and all that stuff, it's one of these things where I feel like I hope that they get way more like popularity and do more outside of WWE than they did in WWE, that they get the fair shake that they couldn't get in WWE. I don't know what Black is going to do, because I feel like he's on the outs with like AEW, but he may end up back there. I don't know. He may end up in TNA. Zelina might go back to TNA and bring Aleister Black with him, or with her or whatnot. But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a sad state of affairs. I feel like we at least have one more round of like releases that are coming, because this was so small. But I feel that's what I truly feel. But it's a lot of potential. It's a lot of disappointment when it comes to these releases. The best go out to all of the people that got released, and I just hope that they do well and show WWE what they did wrong and letting them go. And I hope that they do what they need to do. But other than that, man, it's kind of messed up. Like, WWE isn't in the best space, and decisions like this, it's like some is understandable, others isn't. It's just no excuse. But those are my thoughts. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, share, and I will catch you guys on the next one. So peace out.